Hey guys, Rocky here again, just picking up from where we left off last with the SG body, trying to do the planing on the SG body, getting it down to the proper thickness. Run into a situation here that I did not expect, but now that I do see it, I realize there's going to be a problem. When I try to run this through the planer, the body is too wide, and I can't cut the body down because that's how wide the body's got to be for the SG. So that means this can't go through the planer. So that means all the cutting and the thickness, for the thickness of this is going to have to be done with a belt sander or a orbital sander. Can't put it through the planer. That's going to make it a lot more work. In fact, that's going to make it a real pain in the ass. I could take it to the wood shop where I bought the wood and ask them if they have a planer, which they probably do. And what would they charge me to run it through the planer to bring it down to pretty close to the thickness that it's supposed to be. But I don't know if I'm going to go that far with it or if I'm going to just take my time and see if I can get it the way I want it on my own with a lot of work. That's it. So having said that, we can't thickness plane it and show you the results because that's not going to work. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to come up with a method that I'm going to use to sand it down. I'm not sure what that's going to be. I might go out and purchase a handheld belt sander because this is where one would come in handy. I don't have one. I have a belt sander over there, but that's actually stationary, and that's a little harder to use for what I have to do here. So I may go see. In fact, I might even do that now. It's 6 o'clock. I have to double check to see what time Home Depot closes. So I think Home Depot had one. I think I seen one there one day when I was in there. So what I need to do is I need to go over there and check and see what they've got. Because that's what I'm going to need. So I'll cut the video short here, and I will let you know what the results are once I've been to Home Depot and checked it out. We'll catch you in a bit. Hey guys, Rocky here again. Last video we were talking about putting the body of the SG through the thickness planer and found out that it was too wide to fit. So I talked about going to Home Depot and picking up a belt sander, handheld belt sander. I may still get one yet, but I realized after talking to somebody in the house that I had already purchased a tool specifically for this task. And that tool, I'm not sure if it's better than a belt sander or a handheld belt sander, or the belt sander would be better, or maybe it would be better to have both. Hence why I may purchase the other one anyway. I don't think it was all that expensive, like maybe 120 bucks or something like that. But I did pick up a while back a handheld planer. Now this handheld planer, I've used it once on a guitar already before I picked up this thickness planer. This was what I was using, and I used this on one of my guitars. I believe I used this on my first guitar, I do think. And it came up pretty good. It's a little trickier than using the thickness planer because the thickness planer covers the entire width of the material, whereas this covers a strip that's about 3.5 inches wide, I think, approximately. So the way this works is that you have a bed here and you have a bed here. This bed is adjustable up and down. If I adjust this to a 1/16 of an inch higher than this back bed, then I'll be taking a 1/16 of an inch off of the material. And I would have to do that in strips because of the fact it's, you know, like I said, it's only about 3.5 inches wide. Considering the other alternative, or considering I don't have an alternative, except for if I get a belt sander, which is maybe a little less aggressive, but at the same time, it's still only, I think, 4 inches. I think would be a 4-inch belt. It might even be a 3.5 inch. I don't know. I think it's a little wider than the thickness planer. I think it's a little more manageable than the thickness planer as well. I'm not sure. That could just be a matter of getting used to the tool. The thickness planer is not something, or the handheld thickness planer is not something I've used a lot. Like I said, I've used it once on another guitar. I have watched a few videos to get some tips on how to use it properly. And the key is to make sure that you're holding the pressure down on the back side, on the back part where the back bed is, because that's going to be the what would it be? It would be your base surface on the material. So base surface of the tool on the material. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that at a very, very non-intrusive depth, because you can set the depth, as I said. The way you set the depth, there's a knob on here. You turn this knob, and of course it's got a scale down here to tell you exactly how much you're adjusting it. But I don't really pay attention to the scale. I just know I want a little bit, I'll turn it and take a little bit. If I want a little more, I'll turn it and take a little more. You know, gradually go. I could go step by step, but I think that's fairly aggressive. I'm not sure. Why don't we check that right now and just have a look if we can. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it the first notch, and I don't know if you'll be able to see, but let's try. Let's do it this way. Turn it one notch. First, let's go all the way. Okay, that's max. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but there's definitely quite a difference between this side of the bed and that side of the bed, which is way too much. What I'm going to do is maybe take it one step at a time and see what that does. So there's one click. I'll take that one click, the first one, and go from there. Oh yeah, okay, there's I guess that's a P, so I guess that means parked. So right now we're not doing any cutting at all. I could probably run that on the surface, yeah, and not take any wood off. And if I were to go from parked to 0, what do I get? I don't know what the difference is between parked and 0, but if I take it to 1, I think it's 1/48. No, there's a section between 0 and 1/48, so it must be 1/96, I guess. It doesn't feel like it's taking any wood off, but it might be. Now, guys, don't get me wrong. This, I know I can plug this in. I'm just seeing what. Oh, I guess the reason I wouldn't feel that probably is because this rotates, and if this is not solid, I'm not going to feel it taking anything off. So the best thing to do is to start on 0, plug it in, run it across the material, see what we get. Now, before we can do that, of course, we have to have our material stationary, so it's not moving, like we would have done before, using our good old blue sticky tape here. I'm not going to put as much on this time. I've come to realize that I've been using too much of this tape. I don't need to put as much tape on this as I have been doing. Just a couple of small pieces will probably be more than enough to do the trick. So I'm going to go a little piece on the tail end. Actually, it's got to go on the other side because I want the pellet side down. This is the side that's got the pellet in it from what I was telling you before. You probably can't see that. I can barely see it right here. The light's not that great, but there is a pellet in there. And yes, I'm going to pick it out at some point, but for now, this is the side I'm going to stick down. I'm just going to go with about a 2-inch piece on each end to see if that makes a difference, because I'm using up too much tape and getting to the point when I go to peel it off, it's really hard to remove. So if it's really hard to remove off of the table afterwards, then I've got too much. So we'll try this and see what this does. Just a couple of pieces on the back side, like that. Now, so all I've got, in case you can't see it, in case I don't have the camera in the right spot, is 2 pieces like that. And I'm thinking that's probably more than enough. I'll make sure it's stuck to the wood good. Now the next thing would be to peel this stuff off here. Like that. Same on the other one over here on the other side. My nails are getting a little long. It's bothering me. I'm trying not to bite my nails right now with the COVID situation, because that's a bad habit to start with. It's a good way to pick up germs. And you can probably see there, it's getting pretty long. I've gotten to the point where I'm not biting them much. I just went at these ones a while ago with file and clippers, which I'm not used to doing. I'd sooner chew them, because that's the optimal way of getting them down to where you want them. One reason I want them short is because when it comes to playing the guitar, if there's any nails at all, then it's hard to finger the fretboard and get good sounds. So you got to cut your nails very short. So like I was trying to show you there a few minutes ago, you probably didn't see, but they're starting to, everybody's seen nails obviously, but that's, for me, that's unusual because I don't let my nails get like that. Another reason that bothers me is because I'm constantly scratching myself by accident. And that's annoying. Very annoying. I don't like it. Okay, so yeah, it feels to me like just those 2 pieces of tape, little short pieces of tape, do a really good job putting that down there and holding it down. The only thing is I probably should have put it this way, because I'll be working my planer like this. So I should, I don't know, maybe, yeah, I don't want to go across the grain with the planer. So, see if I can, see what I mean? Just that little bit of tape is enough to really, really stick it down. Should have thought about it before I stuck it on. Okay, it's just a matter of getting hold of it. So the tape stayed right on the table too, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to put that tape bag on. Now it might not want to stick. Might have to put a new piece on. I don't know. Talk about not wasting the tape. Here I am wasting it like crazy. Try it again. See what we get. Now this time I'm going to go kind of like this, catty corner a little bit. So that's probably how I'm going to put it. Now, yeah, it's still sticking. Well, no, it's not sticking as good. But that might be enough though, because all I need is to have a kind of a friction. We'll try and make sure it's not moving before I go at it. I think that'll do it. It's not like I'm putting a lot of pressure on it when I start to plane it. So we'll leave it like that. If there's an issue, we'll just retape it. Now of course, gonna have to reuse the safety equipment once again. Try to get things cleaned off a little bit here. We'll put on all of our good safety equipment once again. So what we're gonna do, now this has safety on it, so I know that as long as the trigger's not pulled, it's not going anywhere. You can lock the trigger like that. You actually have to push that button too. I don't know if that locks the trigger. No, I don't think it does actually. I don't think you can lock the trigger. Got to hold that button to pull the trigger though. Hold this button to pull the trigger. So as long as that's not pulled, it's not going anywhere. I could sit it there and plug it in and not worry about it taking off across the table, because that won't happen. Not like the router. The router can be on and can take off on you in a pretty big hurry. As I mentioned in the last video, I had to be really careful with that. So we're going to plug in right here. And this can be noisy too. I don't know if it's as bad as the router. So I set that very thin, but before I use it, I'm going to put my mask on, because like I said, I don't want to be breathing in this damn dust. I don't mind the smell of the dust, I just don't want to be breathing it in because it's not healthy. So, on with the mask and all the gear, as usual. I won't need as much hearing protection, so I don't think I'll bother with that. Because it's not really, I don't think it's going to be loud. I could be mistaken. Find out here very shortly. Now I'm going to put on my safety goggles, although they're completely covered in dust. Shop air should be on right now, but the problem with that is, like I said before, it makes so much noise and I can't cut it out. So I don't want to turn it on if I can help it. Okay, so these first initial passes will just be to try to drop the thickness of this a little bit. Now you guys might get a little bit of vibration here, I'm not sure, which might cause a shaky video. So, alright, we're set at 0. I don't think we're going to get anything at 0. looks like it did cut a little bit. That could be because of the way I was holding it. Let me try to see if I can figure out how to work this properly. So I went 1 notch from 0. Now I'm between 0 and 1/48. So let's see if I can figure out how to work this properly. See, that will work. That will work. But the thing I don't like about it is the fact that it's such a narrow pass, 3.5 inches or wherever it is. And what we're having here is a situation where you may not be able to see it, but if I pass my hand over it, I can feel the overlap. I don't like it. I'm going to try a different strategy, maybe go more across again this way, see what happens. I'm not sure how that's going to work, or if that's going to work at all. I think it's one of those tools that you have to know how to use. Probably takes, you know, some time, some practice with it. Initially I thought that I had to set it at a certain depth and make a cut, and then set it at the next depth and make a cut, but you don't have to continuously set the depth each pass. You set the depth where you want it, and each time you go over it'll take that much off. So it's not real aggressive right now, but I still don't care for the results. I don't know if I think a belt sander would be better. I'm not taking much off, guys, but I don't like the results because I mean I could sand it down pretty good if I have a decent sander, but if I gotta sand it anyway, I might as well have the belt sander and do it that way to start with.